What's going on, everybody? This is Chaz with Homegrown How To. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to be installing some drip irrigation to some new bushes that I just purchased. I bought these plants at a local nursery that had them listed as B grade. I bought a lot of them for like $3 to $5. The most expensive one that I bought was 20 bucks, and it was this little knockout rose tree. Some of the flowers are dying off. It's looking a little thirsty, a little dry, but all I'm going to do to that, add some drip to it, prune it up, get all the dead stuff off of it, and come spring of next year, that thing should be really thriving. And it's kind of the same as all these other plants. Another find were these hydrangeas that I bought. I do have a couple hydrangeas in my front yard and I love them. These are not in terrible shape. You can see this one on the right's losing some leaves and stuff, but it's just kind of in shock from transplanting that. But we'll add some good drip to it, get some good regular water to them, and they will be doing awesome. Alright, so some stuff I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using these barbed couplings. These are 1/4 inch barbed couplings. I'll be using those to be adding in my 1/4 inch drip line. And I will end that off with a button dripper. I've got these to go on the ends. This is what regulates and shoots out the water. I will be using this hole punch to be punching in a hole into my already existing main line. And I will be using these cutters to be cutting my 1/4 inch line after I have that measured out. Alright, so now I've got these little phlox redwings. This is what they look like without the blooms. Apparently it's supposed to have pink flowers all over it, and this is a ground cover, so it should look pretty cool once this starts blooming and gets healthy. But what I'm going to do is I've actually got a 1/4 inch line already connected here to water this little tree start that I planted. I have some barb tees that I'm going to tee off of this line over here and run that over to here. There's that phlox that I want to run some drip to. I'm just going to clean that off, snap that, and then here is my barb tee. So I'm just going to and I'm going to unwind some of this hose here. And then I'll take the end of my new hose, stick on my button dripper here. There we go. Then after I've got everything assembled, I'll go ahead and bury that line. And that's all there is to it. You can see I've got the hose coming out right here. Let's cover that up a little more. And that thing's gonna be getting some good water now. So I've got this little flower here. I can't remember what it's called. I didn't save the tag on it, but it's got beautiful yellow flowers. Again, this thing just hasn't gotten any water since we've been out of town. And now it's starting to suffer, you can see. But the little button drippers look like this. So I put a 1/4 inch hose on each end of that on an existing line here. So you can see I've got this line running right next to the flower. So I'm going to snip that, stick this on each end, and that will provide enough water for that flower. And as I said, these inline drippers go on an already existing 1/4 inch line, stick it on either side of the line, and that will produce water throughout the dripper. I've got to apply a drip to this, so you can see coming back here, I've got my main line over here. It's back behind that burning bush there. I'm just going to run a line straight from there all the way to here. So I'm going to take I'll take a hole punch here, squeeze that, poke a hole in there. Attach my barb. Then I'll run that line all the way to that. Alright, running this drip line to the knockout rose tree that I planted. This is the exact same process as the previous. I'd like to note that running drip irrigation is very beneficial because it saves a lot of water in the long run. If you're using your sprinkling system or a hose end sprinkler to water a garden, it's going to end up wasting a lot of water because you're watering areas that don't necessarily have plants. So as you can see, I've already got a drip kind of in that area. I had a bush there before, but it died, so I replaced that with these. All right, so I'm gonna be using my barb tee again for this drip. I've got an existing line here for the old bush. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off that button dripper. And I'm gonna stick the barb tee on the end here. And then what I'll be doing is just teeing off a 1/4 inch line to each one of these bushes so that they can each have their own button dripper. Another great option for keeping your button drippers in place is using a stake. Sometimes I'll use these, especially when the 1/4 inch line is getting towards the end and it has too much memory from being rolled up. Those are harder to bury and harder to keep in place. So I always like to come into my, when I'm done, come into my sprinklers and turn on my drip lines just to make sure that those are running smoothly and everything that I just installed is running like it should. All right, so looking here, you can see that's dripping well. That's dripping well. I added some to this. You can see that's looking really dry. I'm not sure if that's gonna make it, but hopefully, fingers crossed, you can get her to come back. But that is dripping there, as you can see. Here's our little knockout rose. You can see she's got some drip coming in there nicely. There's some little ground cover that I dripped. You can see that's dripping really well as well. Here's our little inline dripper. You can see that thing's got a nice little stream coming out right down here. It's looking awesome. So it appears that everything is getting some good water now. So I'll let those run, get them soaked nice and well for right now. They'll water again this evening. And then after that, they'll have a nice, good, steady watering so that they can thrive and do well. Save water so I'm not watering areas that don't necessarily need it with my sprinklers. Drip irrigation is awesome. If you don't have it, I highly suggest it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good day.